The NFL Combine just wrapped up this past weekend, and there were a lot of guys whose stock went up. Some guys' stock did go down, and well, we will discuss that in a little bit, but let's start with the good. The good is there are some really good defensive players in this draft. I mean, one thing you take away watching all 4 days of the Combine is that defensive side of the football is loaded with talent. I mean, talk about giving Kyle and John some second thoughts in the draft. You have defensive linemen, cornerback, linebacker, I mean, you name it. You find one or two key players and then your defensive side of the ball is set for years to come. Now, speaking 49ers sake, for me, it still comes down to Nick Bosa, if he's available, or Josh Allen. But you look at all the players who helped themselves: DeAndre Baker, Byron Murphy, Quinnen Williams, Montez Sweat. I mean, his 40 time alone is what drove him from a top 20 player to possibly top 10. Like, some consider him a top 10 player already. Brian Burns, DK Metcalf. I mean, talk about a guy who was already like on my top 10. Like, his stock may have gone up to top 5, possibly top 3. Like, that's no joke. And Rashawn Gary. Now, Gary, I'm not the biggest fan of his game, but he did have a nice outing. I feel like some team will find a slot for him, will find a role in their defense for him, and hopefully he goes to a team that can use him well. He's not as productive as other defensive linemen or edge rushers, but you put him in the right system, right coach, I think he'll do just fine. Now, this is a very good sign for the Niners. The more players show out at the Combine and Pro Day, the better chance some great players that will pour out into day 2. I feel the Niners should draft their pass rusher in the first and look for a nice solid wide receiver in the second. But man, it's really set up well for them. I just wonder though, I was thinking like, man, imagine having DK in Kyle's system. That would be amazing. But we still have our holes and flaws. I think Kyle will do just fine with other players filling in that role. But I did want to jump into the negative side of some things, I guess, to throw salt in the wound for Jachai Polite, who had the worst Combine experience of them all. A day before his workouts, he was asked what the teams were asking him during interviews, and all I basically gathered is that he complained. He complained about being criticized and being questioned of his character, and that is probably the dumbest thing you can do at this point. Do you think at this point that they're gonna butter you up and tell you how awesome you are, or tell you about all the good things and good plays that you had in college? They are investing millions of dollars into you, and they're gonna ask all the tough questions. I mean, just think of it as Gruden's camp, how he criticized the quarterbacks, regardless if he thought you were the #1 ranked quarterback all the way down to the 26th. It didn't matter. They want to see what you're made of in these interviews. But ultimately, Polite failed the test. And sure, he may have the talent, but people are not gonna look past the character. How many guys in the league come with all the talent in the world and don't make it past their rookie contract because of character issues? I know this because as a Niner fan, we've seen this firsthand. Not just that, but the workouts were just disappointing. You ran your first 40, I think it was like a 4.8, and then said you had an injury, which made you pack your things early. A lot of people are also calling that injury BS. Yikes. Plus, you came with added weight to the Combine, so it tells scouts and teams that you can be irresponsible and tend to quit. So here's my advice to the young man. You are about to get the opportunity of a lifetime. Some team will draft you. You have to do better. Life is almost always about failure, but that's what makes success so awesome, so fulfilling. And if you do turn into a Pro Bowler, which I hope you do, I hope you turn things around, you will look at this moment in time and realize how dumb it was. So I wish him, along with everyone at the Combine, the best of luck, and in turn, these players' lives will change forever. Now, to wrap up this video, I do want to speak about Kyler Murray, who hasn't had his pro day yet, but I feel like that's going to be a very interesting day for for the Cardinals and the 49ers. The possibility of the Cardinals taking Murray #1 overall has been growing like an avalanche. I mean, it started with planting a seed saying, yeah, you know, we have video of the coach saying he would take him #1 overall. Now it's turned that Josh Rosen may be traded, which will then lead to the Cardinals needing a quarterback. I've always said you never know with these situations. Everyone is tradable. Everyone will go in and create their own blueprint on a team, which Kyle did the first year he came in as a Niners coach. He basically started from scratch, cut a lot of players, released a lot of players from the bulky era, and said, these are the guys I'm going with. Well, it seems to work out for him. I mean, he's found some diamonds in the rough, such as Kittle, Breida, Bourne, who have really been productive. So I feel like maybe the Cardinals are trying to do the same thing. With trading Rosen, you kind of give the coach a fresh start with someone else, let them grow together. And so I feel like that's what Arizona might do, which then leads the Niners right into Nick Bosa or Josh Allen. Now, if it's up to me, if I'm GM of the 49ers and I have those two and I'm picking #2 overall, I have to still go with Bosa. No way around it. He is a natural at his position. And I get that Josh Allen may have the higher ceiling. He's the more athletic player. He can play outside linebacker, drop back into coverage, do all that good stuff. I know it. And edge rusher is probably one of many holes the Niners need, but if they have that, at the very least, they can be very competitive. Jimmy Garoppolo, offense, Kyle Shanahan, he's going to stick to that. I know I believe in Kyle Shanahan's offense. He's going to put up numbers. We just need someone to stop the opponent. And Salah has had his ups and downs, but if you give him a player, Bosa, then that makes everyone else better. Now you're looking at this defensive line, you're like, wow, very talented one. A lot of first rounders. Now let's go eat. That is the mentality the Niners should have. I know about the corners. I know about the safeties. I know about the linebackers, but it all starts in the trenches. So those are my thoughts with that, but I'd like to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of the NFL Combine this past weekend. Which player stood out to you? And a lot of you guys have been giving me either Nick Bosa or Josh Allen. I like to say it's very close. It's almost 50-50. It's split. So it's just a good topic of conversation to have right now in early March. And so one thing I do know is that the Niners are in a very difficult spot, and that's for the better. You know, you have to hit on this player because you're passing up on a lot of great players. Quinnen Williams, DK Metcalf, hell, Josh Allen if you pass on him. So you got to make sure that who you're picking at #2 is going to be the guy. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.